Okay, so hello. I'm April Martinez. For those of you who don't know me, I am a naturopathic doctor, but that does not mean I'm a licensed physician. So I'm going to start this off with a little disclaimer. I am not a licensed physician. I do not work with diagnoses. I do not work with diseases. I do not work with prescriptions, nothing of that sort. What I do is I work with the whole person and what's going on with the body. And then we develop programs and protocols on what's actually happening with your specific body. That's the definition of naturopathy, taking the whole person as a whole, looking at the entire picture and then figuring out how we can support the body and bring it back to health. Okay, always have to make the disclaimer. And like I said, this can be recorded. So what I'm going to ask is that we don't ask a whole lot of questions. Okay, if you want to deep dive on something, if I tell you, hey, let's talk about it afterwards, I don't want somebody to have to listen to this for 2 hours straight, you know, to get like the meat. So feel free to ask questions, but if I do kind of push you off, just know that after we turn off the recording, we'll kind of dive into that. Okay. All right, so overcoming anxiety. Who here is anxious? You're like the only one who didn't raise your hand. Just kidding. So for me, I want to share, I rarely ever deal with anxiety. My first time dealing with it was with this lovely child. From a very, very young age, she was very anxious. She would completely shut down if somebody spoke to her. And I didn't know how to handle that. I'm very extroverted. I was the one that like was going to get kidnapped, you know, when I was a little kid. And then having to deal with a child who would just literally completely shut down at the grocery store, or if like somebody came to the house and said hi to her, I mean, she would just, even at like the ages of like 2 and 3. So that was my first real experience with anxiety. And then getting into this line of work and realizing that like everybody, I mean, look at this room here, and there's just 2 of us that don't really deal with it as much, you know? So I can understand in a way and kind of relate in a way just through her as to what you guys have been experiencing and going through. So we're going to go through some of the possible root causes. I do want to share with you that anything can cause anything, okay, depending on your makeup and your body and your DNA and your everything, okay, your circumstances. Anything can cause anything. These are just more of the most common ones that we typically see that cause anxiety, okay? So the number one one I want to go over is tired adrenal glands. Okay, your adrenal glands sit above your kidneys. Okay, they control a lot of your hormones in the body. Okay, but what we mostly know about them is, you know, when the car falls on the baby and the mom goes over and, you know, hefts it up because you get that shot of adrenaline. That's what the adrenals do. Fortunately, we live in a society that's extremely stressed out. So for most people, and I would say probably 95% of the people I see have tired adrenals right there. They're basically in fight or flight, and they've just burned themselves out. They can't respond well to stress, which can cause a lot of anxiety in the body. So with the tired adrenals, a lot of people will experience, like I said, some lower back aches. Okay, so not saying that if you have lower back aches, it is the adrenals, but that's one of the symptoms. Also, if you see a decrease in your energy, a decrease in your sleep, a decrease in your stamina, more than likely you are suffering from tired adrenals. So what we can do at that point is I supplement with adrenal support. Okay, so I have certain supplements that I use that help, you know, basically give love to those adrenals, let them take a break. But some things you can do at home is increase your meditation and quiet time. Okay, so when we're talking about meditation, I am not talking about home. Okay, I'm talking about chill out, listen to some good music, do the dishes, vacuum, like whatever you got to do. If you want to just hang out, you know, and just be quiet, you know, those of us who have kids, right, especially little teeny tiny ones, like, you know, just take that quiet time for yourself and just really like try to calm the mind. You want to do this especially right before bedtime. We don't want to do this and then immediately pick up our phone, go on Facebook and hear FML McDonald's screwed up my order, because then our adrenals goes, ah, world's coming to an end. Okay, so also like turning off the TV. A lot of us go to sleep with the TV. We don't want to be stimulated all night long, right? So if that's hard for you, find other things that you can do that will help you get to sleep without that noise, okay? Another way, review the people, surroundings, and social media. Okay? Look around you. Do you have these really negative people in your life that you could be like, hey, like maybe we should cut off this friendship, or, you know, or if you're even like me, I'm like half my family, I'm like, bye. You know, social media, huge, huge, huge one. Okay, because everybody's on there, and I'm sorry, everybody just bitches and moans. That's all they do on social media. You see the occasional funny cat, maybe a baby picture, and then it's FML, McDonald's screwed up my order. Okay, so really look at that and remove some of that from your life. Even like your employment. I mean, I get it. We all have bills to pay. I get it. But, you know, you're talking to a woman who went from $80,000 a year to $13,000 a year for my sanity. You know, like sometimes it's just not worth it. Getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep daily. Huge, 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 huge. Our body heals when it's asleep. So I don't want to hear any of that. Oh, we need less sleep when we get older. I call bullshit. Okay. The older you get, the more sleep you need, because you need more healing. You need more healing to the body. So if you're not getting 7 to 9 hours sleep, let's talk. Okay. Let's see what we can do to like improve that for you. Okay. All right. Vitamin and mineral deficiencies. This is the one that I see the most of. Okay. That causes anxiety. I mean, I always tell people, like when they come in and we're talking and I'm recognizing it's a vitamin and mineral deficiency and they're talking about anxiety, I'm so excited because I'm like, oh, this is going to be like the easiest thing in the world to fix. And then she's so magical. Okay, this is the one thing. So sometimes we have these little bugs in our gut that likes to eat all the vitamins and minerals and grow big and strong, right? And then wreck our life. Okay. And when that happens and we're deficient in those vitamins and minerals, then the chemical balance in our bodies change, right? And our anxiety, we can see a lot of mental health disorders, but anxiety usually follows most of them, okay? So what can we do? I want you to take this little sheet, this Candida yeast answer that I gave you. I want you to just take a minute and I want you to look at the bottom part down here, okay, where all the little symptoms are. And just kind of start noticing if you have some of these other ones too, besides the anxiety. Okay, looks like literally everything, doesn't it? And how many people do you know around you that have like 10 of these? Like everybody, right? That's why I said this is one of the most common things that I see. Okay. So this is for Candida yeast. Candida yeast is also a parasite. Okay. So when I'm talking about parasites in yeast, I'm talking about two different things, but they're the same. Okay. So how many of us have 5 of them on there?
20. I know I first started.
Yeah.
It's like Robin.
Yeah. When I got really, really sick, I could check off almost every single one of these when I was really sick. Still didn't have anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot bipolarism, like you name it, I was a hot mess. All right, so what can we do about this? We can change the diet. Okay. So these types of parasites in yeast love junk food. Love it, love it. Processed crap, sugar, you name it, they love it. Okay. They love your vitamins and minerals too. They literally eat everything in the body. Okay. So we still want to eat nutritious food, right? Because now we got to eat more nutritious food because we're feeding them too. And then we need to get our vitamins and minerals. But changing our diet, doing a Candida or a parasite cleanse, okay? A lot of people will come to me and say, can I do this just through food alone? And I always say, give me 6 weeks. I will let you try for 6 weeks to do it through food alone. Most of the time they can't accomplish it because it's so bad, okay? So when we add in some help to kill it off, we can kill it off faster and get back to our normal lives, okay? Taking a high quality probiotic. You're getting your probiotic from City Market, Walmart, any of these retailers, it's awesome. You have to take about 20 times as much to get the effect. So in reality, it's actually costing you more than it would be to invest in a good high quality probiotic. Take a whole food vitamin and mineral supplement, making sure that it's not synthetic, okay, and not made out of isolates. You're looking at the bottle and it's saying vitamin C as ascorbic acid. That is an isolate. That means in the lab, they took the orange and they took out the ascorbic acid, the vitamin C part of it, out of it, and left all the other cofactors. So when I'm saying a whole food, it needs to come from food. Okay, so you can see this with a lot of like your green drinks, you know, like that have like spirulina and alfalfa and all those things. So just make sure if you're looking for, you know, like a supplement for that to increase your vitamins, minerals in the body, that you're doing a whole food one. Okay, do not go crazy with it though. Okay, follow the recommended dosage. Don't like all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm super deficient, and like do twice as much. Okay, because you can actually make the bug problem worse. Okay. Emotional imbalances. Okay, we've talked about like the hormone imbalances, right? And how those can cause a lot of the anxiety. But also we need to look at, what if somebody's in a really bad relationship? Or bridezillas. I love bridezillas, right? They are a hot mess. And they're like having their, it's supposed to be the happiest moment of their life, right? But they're really anxious because of the situation. Okay. So take a look around you, okay, and see if there's something going on that is causing the anxiety. Because then you're going to take a different approach. You're going to know it's not these other things, right? What can we do to work with that specific situation? So where I'm saying find ways to alleviate the above causes, that's when, if you like talk therapy, go do talk therapy, right? If you're turning into a bridezilla and everything's going wrong with your wedding, can you ask somebody else to step in? You know, I'm not one of those that believes in you need to find ways to reduce your stress, but in certain circumstances, yes, I do believe that. Okay. We're always going to have stress. And I just want to just kind of talk about this. We're always going to have stress, but when we're in a healthy spot in our bodies, the stress doesn't really faze us. Okay. 15 years ago, what I'm going through currently right now would have had me just out of control. I still have the same thing happening, but I can deal with it just fine, you know, because I'm taking care of myself and working on, you know, what I need. So finding ways to alleviate the above causes, or if it's caused by like situation, personal trauma, you know. Okay, being an empath. This is a big one. You go in the grocery store, you're walking down, lady walks by you and you're like, ooh, she don't feel good, right? Or you walk in, you go into work and the gal next to you, like you don't even talk to her and you already know she's having a bad day, right? You can just feel it, okay? So sometimes we experience anxiety because we're picking up on everybody else's crap, okay? So this is a big one. Everybody is an empath, okay, to some degree. Some of us are just very closed off and can shut ourselves down from feeling, okay? So if you are an empath and this is maybe causing some of your anxiety, what you can do is make time for recuperation. And I'm talking about just take that time to just be by yourself, you know, basically recharge and get going again. Okay, so whatever that looks like for you. Even if you're an extrovert, like I'm an extrovert, and sometimes when I'm around a lot of that, I have to just go home and just be by myself, right? She's more introverted. She has to take like a whole day. You know, I'm good in like 3 hours. She's like shut down for the week, you know, so do what you need to do for that. Practice boundary setting. Okay, work with somebody, go on YouTube, whatever you got to do. Start working on boundary setting. And there's 2 different boundary settings that you need to work on. That's your physical and your energetic. Okay. If you are taking my energy class that we are doing in January, my 2-day energy workshop, we will be going over how we can set energetic boundaries. Okay. That's one of the things that we do work on. So yeah, practice those boundary settings. If you're a people pleaser, this is going to be really hard for you. Really hard. I'm not looking at anyone in particular. Just kidding.
Okay, well.
Can use frequency devices for assistance. How many people do you know that carry like a crystal in their pocket? Right, you got one? Oh.
I usually keep them in my phone.
Yeah. Crystals are a really big tool for that a lot of people use, or like worry stones, things like that. If you're doing the energy workshop again, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna teach you how to make your own, which is like lots of fun. There's a thing called a Healy. It's about $1,500. Really cool frequency device. It really helped me a lot during COVID when everybody around me, I mean, like, I'm usually really good at energetic boundaries, but you all have to admit there for a while, the whole world went crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad. So the Healy was really good for that. It has a lot of different things that you can use on it too. Do not ask me to teach you on it because I probably know like this much about it. I just know to do what I need to do. Visualizations are also really good. It's not really a frequency device, but I always teach a lot of visualizations on what you can do. They call me the bubble queen. I wrap everything in a bubble myself every day. I'm like, yeah, that's one of my boundary settings is I'm just wrapped like a bubble. I always tell everyone I'm like Fort Knox. If you're cool and you have no bad intentions, you can come into my bubble. If you do not, and I will literally feel you hit it. And you like bounce back. It's really cool. But you can use those things to help you as an empath too. There's so many different ways on like YouTube, TikTok, I mean, all the things, right? And just go with you what resonates with you, okay? Don't just go on there and just believe everybody's things, like everybody's different, what resonates with you. Okay, emotional balancing tools. I love aromatherapy. Like I love using aromatherapy. You know, lavender is probably the #1 essential oil I would recommend for anxiety because it is so calming almost immediately. Plus it smells good, so you're not like chasing everybody off, which might help your anxiety too if you chased everyone off. You know, a little Ylang Ylang. A lot of people don't like that one. You can throw that on and just
Very flowery.
it's almost too strong though. And vetiver I have on here. It's like vetiver to me is like a tranquilizer. I mean, it'll just knock you out. So those are some of the ones. If you have your specific brand that you like to use, I know some of us in here use doTERRA. Like I love to use things like Serenity, or you know, anything that would be labeled as like a calming blend. Make sure you're getting good quality essential oils. Please do not run to Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon. Trying to think of all the places I see crappy essential oils. There is not just one company. If you need some recommendations, ask me, you know, and I'll be able to recommend you good high quality oils. Another one, I am a certified Bach flower practitioner. I work a lot with Bach flowers. I know some of you in here have used them. They are glorious. So a lot of people who deal with anxiety like calming essence. Calming essence is more of like a situational kind of thing, okay? I mean, it's not gonna hurt you to take it all the time, but it's really not gonna help you really balance out those specific areas that you need. So I have on here, there are 38 Bach flowers. I have on here the fear ones because fear is what causes anxiety. So we have aspen. If you have anxiety attacks, aspen needs to be in your wheelhouse, okay? Aspen is for unknown fears. It's when you're like, you're not sure what it is that you're worried about, that you're anxious about, but there's something. And with these are really, really simple. You put up to 4 drops in your water or like under your tongue a day. That's it. And it balances your body back out because you're out of whack, right? Your frequency's out of whack. These come in and balance that frequency out because you don't deal with that anxiety or that emotional imbalance. So Mimulus, this is good for known fears. If you have a really crappy job and you know that that causes a lot of your anxiety, Mimulus might be a really good one for you. You know, because you know what it is. This is also great for if you're like claustrophobic, afraid of heights, anything like that. Okay, when you know you have a fear. Red chestnut. These are for the helicopter moms. we have any helicopter moms here? These are the ones that are panicked over their children all the time, right? Or another family member or a really close friend is causing you an enormous amount of anxiety. I'm going to share this. My husband, so he's the mother in the relationship. My kids go out of town somewhere, my adult kids go out of town somewhere. He has timed the exact moment they should be reaching their destination. If he does not hear, I'm here, he's panicked. Okay. I'm kicked back and I'm like, they stop for coffee, they have lunch, I'll give like 2 more hours. But yeah, you know that well, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but he gets so anxious over like this fear for somebody else. So that's a really good one for red chestnut. Cherry plum, if you're doing some shadow work, some inner trauma work, things like that, cherry plum is going to be a really, really good one for you, especially if you like to just shove things in and be like, I'm okay. Just stuff it in there. Okay, this is also a really good one. Some of you are really young in here. Some of us know a lot of people who hit 50s, 60s, and they lose their ever-loving minds, right? We call it a midlife crisis. Okay. I will not try not to pinpoint anybody here. Just this one. Yeah, so cherry plum is a really, really good one, especially if you're doing a lot of emotional work and anxiety is surfacing from that, especially if you've had a lot of abuse in the past. Okay. So rock rose. These are the ones like I said with her when she was little and somebody would talk to her and she would completely just shut down. She would just freeze. This is more, the best word for me is somebody who's experiencing terror. Okay. So that's a really, really good one. You have like little ones that are really anxious and then they're having like perfect nightmares all night and, you know, scared of the monsters under their bed and things like that. This is a really, really good one. Or if you yourself are dealing with, I mean, like I remember working at the refinery and just sitting out in my car and being like, I can't go in. Like, I just can't, you know. Do we have a refinery worker?
No. Just our other job.
Oh, okay. So those are just basically what I wanted to talk about with anxiety. I do have on the bottom here, because everybody always asks me, what do you recommend? I've opened up an online dispensary, okay, that you have access to professional grade supplements. Okay, so not Walmart stuff, like high quality things. And in there, under the protocols, this is overcoming anxiety. It has everything on here that I would recommend. Do not click the add everything to cart because you might not need everything, okay? So please go in and actually pick and choose what you need. I also carry things here, so if you need some recommendations. I may be getting rid of my Bach flowers. I have a practitioner coming in that is currently studying it, and if she chooses to do it, I will keep them. But since I actually don't offer emotional balancing sessions anymore, I will more than likely not be carrying them, and they are available. Okay. So I'm going to turn this off and we can go to questions. I